Mark Sanchez has been the butt of jokes the last couple of years, pun absolutely intended, but the once thought to be NFL draft bust has a chance to rectify his career as Nick Foles will look on with his arm in a sling. But in order for the Sanchize to be successful, LaShawn McCoy is going to have a serious case of the runs. Mike Owens is here. I'm Adrian Fedque. Oh man, the Sanchize.
The Sanchez is here. And in Philadelphia, we know all about backup quarterbacks, especially in recent years. You go back and you look, and we thought that Kevin Cobb was going to be the man that was going to lead us in the future. And then all of a sudden, he goes down with a concussion, and Michael Vick comes in and tries to revitalize his career. Well, he plays for a few years, has a lot of injuries, and then he finally gets too old and has a hamstring injury that sends him out of Philadelphia. And then after that, we have the guy named Nick Foles. He comes in. Everybody thinks that he's going to be the future quarterback. Well, we all know that Nick Foles now has a broken collarbone. So now we're off to Mark Sanchez. So where does Mark Sanchez lead us to? We don't know. I mean, that's the biggest question right now in Philadelphia. Everyone was like, Nick Foles, can it be the franchise quarterback? Now the question is, what Mark Sanchez do we have? Do we have the Mark Sanchez with the Jets? Or do we have Mark Sanchez with Chip Kelly?
Oh man, I am beyond intrigued about this situation. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how he's going to play. I don't know if he's going to go back to his fumbling turnover ways. I have no idea. But here's what I do know. The offensive line is healthy. Evan Mathis is coming back this week. They got Jason Kelce back last week. So that five-man little squad they had last year, besides, with the biceps, but they got everyone back now. And Mark Sanchez is going to be the beneficiary of that, as is LaShawn McCoy, and he's the key to this whole thing. Now, I know obviously everyone's talking Sanchez and Foles and all this stuff during this week, but McCoy's really the guy that needs to step up, and I look for him to turn on the Jets as the season comes to a close.
Yeah, well, this just won't be the McCoy show. The Eagles are actually going to turn this into a three-headed monster here. And you saw that last week against the Texans. You're going to see McCoy, Sproles, then you're going to see also a lot of Chris Polk. So, this is a three-headed monster we got right now, and we're going to have to use all three backs to get by with Mark Sanchez.
Yeah. And to give you guys a little history lesson, because this is kind of what coaches do. Once, one of their star quarterbacks goes down, they turn to the running game. Even Andy Reid did the same thing. So, going back to the last, 2 years where Donovan McNabb suffered a late season injury, had to, miss the rest of the season. You go back to 2002, Week 11. We remember the broken ankle game where played one of his best games of his career against the Arizona Cardinals. Well, the Eagles they turned to A.J. Feely and Coy Detmer. Detmer, Week 12 against San Francisco, had his showcase game of his career. Then he suffers that elbow injury, so they moved on to A.J. Feely. And the pass-happy Reid, he turned to the running game for the Eagles to have success. It was pretty much a 50-50 ratio. So the rest of that year, the Eagles only suffered one loss after McNabb got hurt. It was Week 17 against the Giants. Feely and Detmer, they combined to throw 180 passes, and you had the duo of Deuce Staley and Dorsey Levens, and they ran the ball 178 times. So 180 passes, 178 runs. 2000, remember this year, right? Jeff Garcia, this guy right over here. Well, Andy Reid even turned more to the run. So Week 11, Donovan McNabb goes down with a torn ACL against the Titans in week 11, and the Eagles. This is where Brian Westbrook really shined and played really well, and Andy ran the ball 146 times down the stretch. compared to 136 pass attempts. So the pass happy read, you can see it right here by the number to the run. The Eagles, that season they started and they won their last 5 games to make it into the postseason. Obviously, they eventually lost to the Saints in the divisional round, but as you can see, the running game is the recipe to success when you have a backup quarterback.
Yeah, and if you have, Andy Reid, guy that loves to pass the ball, turning to the run, I would imagine that a guy, Chip Kelly, who really predicates his offense off the running game, is going to utilize his, 3 running backs here in, McCoy, Sproles, and Polk. So, yeah, I mean, that's great numbers there, great history lesson. And I think that going forward, really, the way that they succeed with Sanchez as quarterback is to run the ball a lot and make sure that Sanchez isn't throwing the ball more than 30 times a game.
Yeah, seriously. And that's the other thing is even during this, time Garcia was quarterback, he only threw the ball over 30 times one time during that regular season stretch, and that was against Carolina. He was 21 of 39. But you look at all these other games, 23 pass attempts, 23 pass attempts, 28, 23. They were, relying on Brian Westbrook and the running game. So that's what we're going to see here with LaShawn McCoy, Darren Sproles, and Chris Polk. They ran the ball 40 times last week for 190 yards against the Texans, and I expect much of the same success this week. Going up against the Carolina Panthers defense, that's 26th in the NFL stopping the run, allowing 131.9 yards per game. Obviously not the same defense they were last year without Greg Hardy, so I expect much of the same this week. Keep pounding the rock with Shade, and I'm expecting some victories.
Yeah, I think that the game plan this week, you're really going to see the Eagles try to come out and establish a running game early on. They're going to want to do that so that they can open up the pass, especially that play action pass. So yeah, I think you're really going to see a lot of the running game early on, kind of get Sanchez settle in, and I feel like if they can establish that running game, then Sanchez should he should be fine back there.
And Sanchez, spoke to reporters yesterday, and the interesting thing that he was talking about was, how he thinks he thrives in an up-tempo system. He referenced back when he was with the Jets how he, played well when they went no huddle, and we talked about this last week. When Mark doesn't have to think and he just goes up to the line and he just plays and doesn't have to, make these decisions, just, goes where the open receiver is. He's very successful, and we saw it last week against the Texans. Played fairly 2 interceptions fairly well.
Yeah, the big thing with Mark is that for some reason he seems to excel in this fast-paced offense. You could see it in the Texans game. He came in and it seemed like he was really moving the offense at a faster rate than Foles was. I almost kind of get the sense, obviously Sanchez is he's a veteran quarterback in this league at this point. It almost seems like he can read a defense at a faster rate than Foles can. So if you're looking for positives with Sanchez back there, that along with his mobility, there are definitely 2 positives that you have with Sanchez at quarterback.
Yeah, and this really is a very interesting situation because Mark Sanchez is a free agent at the end of the year. And unlike Foles, he has the beneficiary of having this healthy offensive line now. So it's like, what's going to happen here? If he goes off and plays well, do you sign Mark Sanchez again? Do you, maybe trade Nick Foles? What happens? I don't know. Now, honestly, if it were up to me, I'd probably go back to Foles. But who the hell knows?
Yeah, I mean, I really have no idea. I think it really depends on how Sanchez, plays out to the rest of the year here. But Chip Kelly always says that you have to have two quarterbacks to win in the National Football League. Now, if Sanchez goes down and plays well the rest of the year, there's a very good chance that the Eagles could keep both Foles and Sanchez heading into next season, and they would be in the same situation again this year. You would have two solid quarterbacks going into a season. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, we'll wait and see in the offseason what occurs, but right now we just got to deal with the present situation and see what Sanchez can do for us right now, and it'll get really interesting when if the Eagles get into the playoffs and if Sanchez starts some playoff games, and then you really got to see how he fares in them, because if he does well in them, then I think you really got a situation to deal with, because I kind of feel like if he goes in, say they lose a playoff game just like Foles did, they lose their first playoff game, then I kind of feel like you almost have to go back to Foles. But if Sanchez wins a playoff game or two, then I think you got something to think about.
Oh man, I'm glad I'm not Chip Kelly. That's all I got to say right now. I mean, what do you do? Who knows? Again, like I said, if it were up to me, I'd go back to Foles because I don't think it's really fair to judge him this season. It's the sophomore slump kind of thing. And not only that, you didn't have a healthy O-line, pressure up the middle all the time, without Kelsey and without Mathis. It was really hard for Foles. Obviously he struggled with his feet, throwing off his back foot all the time, threw 10 interceptions. So, really didn't play well, to be honest with you. So, but the other thing is, like, if Sanchez plays well, he might go to another team. Another team might sign him to be their starter, because obviously if you're Sanchez, you'd rather start than be a backup. And the same thing could be said for Foles. It's like, all right, so if, say, Sanchez wins the job next year, what happens? Well, Foles is probably not going to want to be with the team. He's going to want to start somewhere too. So it really opens up a whole can of worms.
Well, so it'll be crazy once the off season rolls around. But yeah, right now Sanchez is the guy, and it's still kind of weird getting used to that. Sanchez is going to be leading us out in the field, Monday night against the Panthers. Mark Sanchez, the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah. All right, so we brought up a couple scenarios for the future, but the future is now. We want to talk about obviously big game coming up for Sanchez, for the Eagles. Now a half game ahead of the Cowboys in the NFC East. And they take on a Panthers team. Quite frankly, they're not playing very well. They started 2-0. They're 1-5-1 in their last 7 games, coming off a pretty bad loss against the Saints at home, 28-10. Really, never in the game, and it's been a struggle on defense without Greg Hardy. Greg Hardy back in May was arrested for domestic violence. Hasn't played yet this season. Obviously the NFL has been pretty stingy with the domestic violence this year, especially once that Ray Rice video came out. So he hasn't been playing, and that's a lot of production that the Panthers don't have right now. Because not only are you losing him, you're also seeing a decline in production from their other DN, Charles Johnson. So it's been a big struggle for that defense. One of the best defenses last year. And right now, they're just average.
Yeah, I mean, the loss of Greg Hardy is really big for them. That guy, I mean, he's just a beast. He's a warrior. He can go out there and change a game. He's almost like a guy like J.J. Watt we just saw for the Texans. And I mean, Watt, as much as you prepare for the guy, he's gonna hurt you no matter what. And he hurt us. I mean, he was in the backfield most of the game. He was doing his thing. So without the Panthers having no Hardy, that's really a big blow to them. I think it's kind of it's really hurt their defense big time this year.
Yeah, 15 sacks last year. He had 26 in the last 2 years. And then you look at Johnson. He has 23 and a half sacks in the last 2 years coming in, and he's had at least 9 in each of the last 4 seasons. But like I said, he's seen a drop off in production, and to have Hardy out, it's not a coincidence at all.
Yeah, Hardy picked the wrong time to throw his girlfriend onto a bed of rifles and say that he wants to kill her. So maybe he should have picked a better timing for this situation, because now he has more time to plan out a murder attempt on his you know wife, girlfriend, whoever it is. So yeah, this is not a good situation for Hardy. And to make matters worse, his trial got pushed back until next year. So he's got even more time to think about what he did. The guy is obviously a maniac, so it's a good thing that the Eagles aren't playing against him, because there's a good chance that he could kill somebody. So yeah, thank God he's not on the field.
All right, so let's run down some of these stats to just show you guys how much of a drop-off this Carolina defense has had. Last season, they were number 1 in the NFL in sacks. They tallied 60. This year, they're tied for 14th with 20. You look at their rush defense, led by Luke Kuechly, the middle linebacker last season, second in the NFL, 86.9 yards per game. This season, 26. 26 in the NFL, 131.9 yards per game. So if Shady doesn't go for $150, I'm going to be pissed off. Pass defense. This season, they are 17th in the NFL, allowing 246 yards per game. Last season, they were 6th. So, again, just to clarify and just to show you guys how much of a drop-off that defense has had, I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, well, you talk about their defense, and without Hardy, obviously the guy that you go to right away is, their linebacker, Luke Kuechly, and he's a star. He's a star in the National Football League. I believe he's actually leading the league in tackles right now. So that's a guy that you got to watch out for. I mean, there's really nothing you can do. He's going to be all over the field on Monday night making tackles. But, really, without Hardy, he's a guy that you really just got to pinpoint, because, besides him, they really don't have any guys on that defense that are going to scare you.
No, they really don't. And going to Kuechly, he plays with the best instincts in the NFL. I mean, his football intelligence is amazing, and he always takes the proper out of the ball carrier. He's always making those secure tackles. Doesn't miss many. I mean, this guy's an amazing player.
Yeah, he's one hell of a player, and he's a guy that I was hoping that the Eagles were going to be able to draft, but didn't work out, and now he's with the Panthers, and he's turned out to a star just like I thought he would. So, yeah, he's a great player. I mean, he's fun to watch, but he's not going to be fun to watch on Monday night, because he's going to be doing some good things against us.
Yeah. It's going to be really fun watching him and McCoy out in open space in one-on-one situations. That's going to be a lot of fun. And, Kuechly was a guy, he probably didn't get as drafted as high as he should have been, and he is a little bit undersized. And, it's just another situation where, these scouts and these GMs, seriously, I mean, Chip Kelly is one of those guys, he loves to have bigger corners, bigger guys, bigger players, receivers. It's one of the reasons why Deshaun Jackson was cut. And with Kuechly, he's a guy, he's not the biggest, but goddamn, he knows how to play football, and that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, him against McCoy, that'll be, a great matchup. It'll really be a matchup, it'll be a battle. It'll be a dance battle. We will see who has the better moves in the open field. So I'm excited for it. McCoy can do, and we'll see if Kuechly can match him. But yeah, definitely that'll be one matchup to watch.
Now the other guy to watch, obviously coming in, Jeremy Maclin. His last 2 games, he's been shot out of a rocket. NFC Player of the Week last week, and This week he's going to be going up against Antoine Cason, cornerback for the Panthers. And, you look at this secondary, there's not much there. I mean, they can definitely be exploited. Captain Munnerlyn was probably their best corner last year, but he left via free agency. So, you look at Macklin there, 26th rush defense. You look for him to exploit that. The matchup is certainly in the Eagles' favor.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Macklin's just hot right now, and it's tough to stop him. So you're going to see a lot of Macklin in this game. He's going to be getting the job done, and Macklin's kind of become the deep threat that everyone was wondering about. Who was going to take over that role with Deshaun Jackson gone, but Macklin's become that guy. He's burning everyone right now. He's open all the time. So. Yeah, well, I mean, watch out for Macklin again. I mean, if you got Macklin on your fantasy team, you've been pretty happy the last few weeks.
Yeah, might as well start nicknaming him 7-Eleven because he's always open.
There it is. Bada bing, bada boom.
Oh, man. All right, so moving on to the Carolina Star. Name's Cam Newton. You know about Cam, Superman. This, coming in, I believe he had an ankle injury or a high sprained ankle or something, which has limited him in his usual, rushing attack. Really good with the read option, with all that stuff. But this year he's, not really running the ball as much. But the thing that's really surprised me about Newton over the last couple of years has been his accuracy as a quarterback. That's what I was really concerned about, him coming out of college, out of Auburn. I was like, I don't know how accurate he's going to be. I don't know, but he's really made some great strides with his accuracy. When he does tend to fall off, he does throw the ball high. We saw this against the Saints last week, really struggled. But he's been pretty spot on the last 2 years, especially. The Patriots game last year, if you want to see how accurate this guy can be, go watch that game. But he's putting the ball on the money this year. I think he's having a good season, even though, the Panthers aren't exactly playing great. And, he's putting the ball on the money, which is amazing to think because they have no receivers. They've got nobody. They got Kelvin Benjamin and a bunch of scrubs off the street. Because they lost Steve Smith in the offseason. They lost Brandon LaFell and even Ted Ginn. So all they have is Benjamin and their tight end Greg Olsen. That's it. And Cam's still playing pretty damn well. So, shout out to him, playing some good ball.
Yeah, I mean, Cam Newton, he's always a guy that you're going to have to watch out for. He's kind of one of those elusive quarterbacks that can scramble. And we know how the Eagles did against, Kaepernick earlier this year. We didn't fare too well. So he's a, similar type of quarterback where he's a guy that can, elude the pressure. So the Eagles are going to have to make sure when they get in the backfield that, they take down Cam Newton because if they let him start to run around, then that's where they could get into trouble.
Yeah. And this is where we're looking at you, Michael Kendricks. This is your time to shine, baby. This is your time to become our new Mufasa. All right? No D'Amico Ryans now, obviously. The Achilles injury last week. So, you pop in Casey Matthews back in there at inside linebacker. But Michael Kendricks, he's going to have to be the man.
Well, I am calling on Simba to step up to the plate. And by Simba, I mean Casey Matthews. He has to have a big game. I don't think he's going to, but a lot is riding on Casey Matthews, honestly, and it's kind of scary. I mean, this is a guy who's kind of won back our trust a little bit this year because he's improved his play big time, but it's scary to think that he's going to be playing, alongside Kendricks there in the middle. So obviously, Kendricks is going to have to take on a bigger leadership role, but at the same time, Matthews has a huge role to fill replacing D'Amico Ryans. And I'm really interested to see how this is going to play out because I kind of feel like the rest of the Eagles season here is, I mean, it's really going to rely on how well Casey Matthews can replace D'Amico Ryans because I feel like Sanchez will do an all right job replacing Foles. I don't think that's going to be a big issue. They're not going to have a big drop off there. But in order for the Eagles to win, they're going to have to hold teams under 30 points a game.
Yeah, and speaking of Casey Matthews, the guy really hasn't been that bad this year. And by not that bad, I mean he's been adequate. He hasn't been, great, anything like that. But compared to what he has been, he's taken strides forward. And the game that really caught my eye was that Rams game. He had 6 tackles in that one. He played really well against the run. That's the thing that really surprised me was his closing ability in the running game and how instinctive he played. And he played a really good game, and his confidence is growing. He's got 2 missed tackles this year, but he has none since the San Francisco game in Week 4. So he's really stepping up to the plate, and he's playing better. And maybe this is a case like Brandon Graham. Maybe it just took him a couple years to finally get his feet under him. You remember back when he was a rookie, he got thrust into the starting job, 4th round rookie out of Oregon, Juan Castillo in the wide 9, and he was put in a position to fail, really. And ever since then, he's playing a little bit better. Now he's not the greatest thing in the world. He's not Clay Matthews, but I feel better about him than I did 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, and the thing is that helps out is he's played a little bit this year. It's not like he's coming in cold off the bench. So he's been in there a bit. So I think that'll help out some.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go. There's our Casey Matthews talk for the day. Never would have thought we'd spend more than 5 minutes on him this season.
Yeah, me either. That's shocking and scary that we have to talk about that. But we're going to be talking about him for the rest of the year, so I guess we better get used to it.
Yeah. Oh, boy. All right, so looking at this Carolina offensive line, they got a couple guys coming back this week. Byron Bell's one of those guys coming in, going to be their left tackle. So, got some guys coming back. The Eagles obviously have been a team that's done a really good job of getting pressure on the quarterback, and the line's going to be a little bit revitalized for the Panthers. So, got to keep ratcheting up the pressure if you're Billy Davis.
Yeah, the Panthers actually a chance that the Panthers could get 3 offensive linemen back for this game that they've been without here. The other guy that they're going to get back, their right guard, Trey Turner, he's definitely going to return too. So you're going to have Bell and Turner back. Also, it looks like that their left guard is going to come back for this game. Mini Sulatuo, he's going to come back too. So it looks like they'll have all 3 of those guys back. So they're getting healthy along their offensive line, just like we're finally getting healthy along our offensive line. That could help out the Panthers, with Cam Newton there, up offensive line, just like Foles struggled with our banged-up offensive line. So it'll be interesting to see how the Panthers, how they hold up with getting most of their offensive line back.
Yeah, and we didn't even talk about Ryan Khalil in that little bit. So you want to say Kelsey's one of the best centers in the league, well, so is he. So it should be a nice little, individual battle between those two. Khalil is, a really good center, and watch him play, he's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly right. So obviously he's a key part to their offensive line. The thing with the Panthers is really haven't had a solid running attack this year because they've kind of been mixing guys in and out. Before a few years ago, D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart used to be a pretty deadly combo, but recent years, it's really been injuries that have plagued them. Same thing this year, so they really haven't been on the field at the same time as much. But we'll see. We'll see it Monday night. They also have guys, Fozzie Whitaker, So yeah, we'll see what happens, but the Eagles should be able to attack. Something that the Eagles defense actually kind of prides themselves on is their run defense.
Yeah, and going to your point, speaking of their running backs, they've been relying on everybody off the street. They've got Chris Obanaya. You referenced earlier about Fozzie Whitaker. There was another guy they had. I can't even think of his name right now. That's how bad it's been. Yeah, can't think of his name. Sorry. So I started a week at fantasy because my running back situation was so dire. But I can't even think of the guy's name. That's how bad their running back situation is. And with D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart. Now those guys are getting healthy and they're back, but it's been really hard, tough sledding for that Panthers team trying to run the ball this season.
Yeah, no, it really has been, and really, and their passing game, they're really good at They rely on Benjamin and really Greg Olsen to carry the load there. Besides that, this is a return of a former Eagle, actually, Jason Avant. Really a class act guy comes back to, makes his return to Philadelphia. I'm sure he'll get a nice welcome, as he should, but he's not going to really, do anything. He's a guy that the watcher down. He was known here for his great third down catches. So he's a guy to keep an eye on, but he won't do much. But really, they also have Jericho Cotchery. So really, Benjamin Cotchery and Olsen is all they have on offense, and it's really not producing much for him right now because the Panthers they're in a similar situation than us right now. They have a tough time scoring in the red zone.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of that has to do with their running game. They don't have a running game, and it's hard to pass the ball when you don't have a running game. Can't do the play action stuff. So you look at our set of corners, Kerry Williams and Bradley Fletcher. Now, if they can't shut these guys down, then see you bye at the end of the year. That's all I gotta say, because this receiving core is not very good at all. It's probably the worst in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, we should be able to shut these guys down, but you never know with our cornerback situation this year. So yeah, it's scary to think about our situation back there. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. They really don't have that many options out there for Cam to throw to. So we should be able to shut them down. Obviously, I think the main thing is going to be taking away the big plays, because in recent weeks, our defense is really just been known for giving up big plays that essentially keep teams in games and allow them to win, like the Cardinals game. The Cardinals, they beat us on their big plays, so we're really going to have to limit that. And I feel like if we can limit big plays from the Panthers, then Eagles really shouldn't have a problem in this game, because I think big plays and turnovers, that's the only way the Panthers can stay in this game.
Yeah, I agree. No big plays. Obviously, the turnovers have been really detrimental to the Eagles this season. 21 on the year, leads the NFL. Only had 19 all of last year. Now, throwing out a nugget for you, because I saw this yesterday. In the last 16 games, guess who owns the best record in the NFL?
The last 16 games.
Yes. Guess who owns the best record in the NFL?
Well, the Eagles got to be up there.
Eagles and the Cardinals are first. 13-3 in their last 16 games. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles have been pretty impressive here recently with Chip Kelly. I mean, after our slow last year, we kind of really picked it up. Had a great second half of the season. So yeah, I mean, that's not surprising that the Eagles are up there. And yeah, right now the Cardinals kind of a bit of a surprise here in the NFC. and really the NFL. I mean, they have the best record in the NFL right now. Um, I kind of feel like it's a matter of time though before they start to lose a few games here and kind of get back to reality.
Yeah, yeah, I kind of feel the same way about that. But yeah, it really is amazing, the difference between last year and this year. 3-5 last year, team was all healthy, you know. Um, this year, where the injury bug has bit us in the ass, everybody's hurt. It seems like turning the ball over at a ridiculous rate. But the Eagles are 6-2. It's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, this has really been a bizarre year. If you go back and you look at all the injuries we've had, and you look at the way we're turning the ball over, losing our starting quarterback, you would pretty big trouble. We would have a bad record, but it's really quite the opposite. Somehow, we're 6-2. We're leading the division, and things are playing in our favor right now. So. I mean, as long as they keep winning, then everyone's going to be happy.
Yeah, yeah, really. Now I want to go back to Mark Sanchez because you listen to talk. If you listen to talk radio this week, you'd think that Sanchez was the greatest thing ever. I mean, it's incredible. It really is. The NFL really is judged on weakness. It's like everyone has forgotten how bad he used to be. But he's making his first start since 2012. Missed all of last year with a shoulder injury, and this year, oh my God, it is so funny how quickly the fans can love you.
Yeah, well, it's kind of ironic because, before the season started, everybody was talking about how we should, maybe trade Sanchez and maybe get another player in another position. Well, it turns out that would have been a dumb move because obviously we need Sanchez right now. But those are some of the same people now who are all of a sudden are all over Sanchez and they love the guy and they're saying that he could take us to the Super Bowl. So yeah, people are getting a little bit out of control here in Philadelphia. I really don't know what happened here. It's kind of like some people had a bad taste in their mouth about Foles and with all these interceptions, and then I guess people kind of feel like it's a fresh start with Sanchez. But I'm optimistic about Sanchez, but at the same time, I'm a little bit cautious here because of what I've seen him do in New York, and I don't think that we should increase our expectations or lower them. I really think that we should keep them the same because I think that in Chip Kelly's system, I think that Sanchez can, really be effective like Foles was.
Yeah, yeah, and it comes down to the system more than anything because you look at how many open receivers the Eagles have, running down the field on a consistent basis, and Foles is missing a lot of these throws this season. Even though he's putting up the stats, the numbers, despite the interceptions, guys are always running open. So Sanchez will have his time to shine. He's going to get protected pretty well because again, the line's going to be back, and we'll see what he does. I mean, it's oh man, I'm excited. This little can't even say it, revitalization of Sanchez in his career.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that you look at and you kind of do get excited because this was a guy, Sanchez. He was a pretty high draft pick, and people had high expectations for him. Early on, his first couple of seasons with the Jets, he did a nice job, took them to some AFC Championship games, but then it kind of all fell apart for him. And now here we are, and he's kind of got a change of scenery. And this week you listen to different people from around the league, ex-coaches and things like that, and they kind of say that a change of scenery can really can really change a player and really revitalize his career. So I mean, from what we've seen in preseason so far, and this game against the Texans, Sanchez he's kind of done that. He seems like a different type of quarterback. So I mean, hopefully he can, continue to play like that. And but if we start to see, bad Sanchez, then that's where things could get a little bit ugly.
Yeah, yeah, and the boo birds will come out, and he didn't handle the media and the booing well in New York, so and it's even worse here. All right, so prediction time, and we're gonna do two predictions. We're gonna do a prediction for the game and prediction of how many touchdowns and interceptions Mark Sanchez will throw. So,
All right.
Eagles, I think they win this one pretty easily. I don't see the Panthers giving them much to offer. I just don't see it. So I got the Eagles winning this one 37-20. I think they're going to put up points. I think Sanchez throws 3 touchdowns. He will have an interception, but I think Sanchez is going to have a nice little debut in an Eagles uniform as a starter.
Yeah, we think here because I think that the Eagles also run away with this one. I'm gonna say that the Eagles win this one, 34-17. Think it's pretty easy. And Sanchez, you said it right there. 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. I wish I could be different, but I think that's what's gonna happen. I think he's gonna play a good game. I think he will have one bad throw where he's going to get that interception. He might have more than one bad throw where he gets away with another one, but overall, I think that the Eagles are going to come out. I think they're going to run the ball mostly, and they're going to make sure that Sanchez doesn't have to be Superman. And if they do that, I think that Sanchez will be able to, get some nice, easy touchdown throws in the red zone, and they should be all right.
All right, so there you go. There's our prediction for the game, and a nice little Eagles victory. We both got a 17-point cushion there, so it should be easy pickings that you would think. So we'll see what happens. You never know with this team though, because the way it's been this year, the Redskins game, perfect example. You think you're going to run away with it, but well, it wasn't like that. Jaguars game, first game of the year, they were up 17-0 at halftime. So you never know what's going to happen with this team. But on paper, it looks like a nice little easy victory. All right, so we'll get to the rest of the NFL now with the Week 10 slate. We'll make our predictions, and the game tonight, Cleveland at Cincinnati. Now this is intriguing because the Browns are 5-3. It's incredible. This is the best records that these two teams have had this late in the season. I think I saw since 1989. So. Should be a good one. Battle of Ohio in Cincinnati. If this game was in Cleveland, I'd probably take the Browns, but the Browns, they're 1-4 on the road. I like the Bengals in this one.
And I'm the same way. I think this is really a home field advantage game, so I'm going to go with the Bengals. I'm tempted to kind of pick the Browns, but since it's a home game for the Bengals, I got to go with them. It's tough to see the Browns, coming in to Cincinnati winning this one on Thursday night. But the thing is with these Thursday night games, you really never know. It seems like a lot of times one team is ready to go and another team isn't. So it could be the case again tonight.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Should be a good one. All right, so game in London. The Jaguars have become Europe's team. So if Dallas is America's team, Jaguars are Europe's team. Playing home games in London. Tony Romo, well, it looks like he's going to play. From what I've seen. So I don't know how smart of a decision that is for him to play. I mean, you got a bye week coming up. And you got the Jaguars. I mean, I would think you could win with the Ginger Whedon, but if they want to risk Romo, that's fine with me. But I got the Cowboys in this one.
Yeah, as much as I want to, pick the huge upset with the Jaguars, I'm gonna have to go with the Cowboys. If the Cowboys were to lose this game, they might just want to stay in London and not come back to the United States.
Oh man, it was funny when you were telling me that Jerry Jones's wife is going to give up her seat on the plane for Romo.
Yeah, yeah, it already happened. They're already in London. So yeah, Jerry Jones. I guess his wife. I mean, yeah, who knows what's going on with her? But she must be oblivious to life at this point. She just lets Jerry Jones do whatever he wants. So yeah, Mr. Romo and Jerry Jones, they got some cuddling action in their first class seat on the way to London.
All right, Kansas City at Buffalo. Another pretty good game here between two. Well, not so surprising for Kansas City maybe, but the Bills absolutely. I believe they're 5-3 so far. So home game in Buffalo. Oh man, Chiefs coming in. I'm going to take the Chiefs. I like the way they're playing right now.
Yeah, I had to go with the Chiefs in this one too. Really not a fan of the Bills and their backfield situation at the moment. They've got a lot of injuries there. So, yeah, I'm going to have to go with the Chiefs.
All right. Miami at Detroit. The Dolphins coming off a third. It was really surprising there. Detroit coming in. I believe, what are they? And, have had a couple, heart attack, wins the last couple times they've been out. So, um, hmm. Yeah, I'll take the Lions at home.
Yeah, this is a tough game, actually. Um, the Dolphins, obviously, they're coming off their best game of the season. Anytime you can shut someone out, that's pretty impressive. Lions are getting Calvin Johnson back for this game, but I am going to go with the Dolphins.
All right. So I'll mark that down. There's one little difference between us. Yeah. Swimming with the Dolphins, huh?
That's right, yeah. Well, if it's a game that if you're an Eagles fan, you got to cheer for the Dolphins, obviously, for seeding.
Yes, yeah. All right. Tennessee at Baltimore. This should be easy. Ravens at home.
Yeah, yeah. We don't even need to talk about that one.
Yeah, skip that one. Uh, oh, what a mess they are right now. Ben Roethlisberger, Big Ben, strikes again. 6 more touchdowns last week, 12 in the last 2 weeks. Set an NFL record for most in a 2-week span. The Jets are rolling, or Jets are rolling. Steelers are rolling right now offensively. I look for them to continue rolling by beating hapless Jets.
Yeah, it's so bad for the Jets right now that they're actually going to allow Vic to bring his pit bulls on the sideline for this game for moral support. Vic has been so depressed in New York that he needs his pit bulls on the sideline so when he throws an interception or gets hurt, he can go over there and get a nice lick from his pit bulls. So the pit bulls will not help Vic this week. Roethlisberger will continue to rape defenses and rape girls after the game. The Steelers win going away.
All right. Let's see. Atlanta at Tampa Bay. Oh boy. Falcons lost like 4 or 5
really
in a row. Something like that. Tampa Bay is an abomination. I'll take the Falcons on the road.
Yeah, it's a shame that they have to play this game. This is so bad. The Buccaneers actually are going back to McCown at quarterback, Glennon back on the bench. So, boy, yeah, I'll go with the Falcons, but yeah, brutal game.
Yeah. All right, now well, this is a good one, and this is, wow, what happens if the Niners lose this one? San Francisco at New Orleans. The Saints playing a lot better now with, the emergence of Mark Ingram. They won their first road game of the season last Thursday against the Panthers. They're now 4-4 on the year. Started off 2-4, won the last 2. Oh man, I'm gonna take the Niners in this one. I'm still, they're a Super Bowl pick, so I'm still, hoping that they turn their season around.
Yeah, I go with this. I just not a believer in the Niners this year, so yeah, I'm gonna go with the Saints. I really think that this is a really big game though for the 49ers.
Yeah.
Kind of almost feel like this is almost their season after losing the way they did last week to the Rams. If they were to lose this one and go to 4-5, they would really find themselves in a bad situation.
Yeah, I agree. Um, Denver, this is another one. Take 2 seconds. Pick Denver. Bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah.
All right, move on. St. Louis at Arizona. So the Arizona Cardinals, the lone one-loss team in the NFL, at home against the Rams, who we just referenced it, had that win last week against the Niners where Kaepernick fumbled the ball near the goal line on a sneak. Rams right here, they're playing well, but I'm going to take the Cardinals at home.
Yeah, I want to go with the Rams, but it's hard to go against the Cardinals right now, especially at home in this game. If it was in St. Louis, it would give you something to think about. Yeah, Cardinals are rolling. In a game like this, they should win.
All right, Giants at Seattle. The Giants right now are not playing good football. Andrew Luck went and torched them in New York on Monday night. Now they got to go all the way to Seattle. It's just not going to happen. Make it 4 losses in a row for the Giants.
Yeah, Giants are really banged up on defense. So Mukamara done for the year at a cornerback, tore his biceps. Really the year of the torn biceps. So yeah, the Giants are just in trouble. There's not going to be a turnaround this year with the Giants. They don't have a good football team. Even with Eli Manning not throwing that many interceptions, yeah, they're not going to do it this year. Yeah, the Giants lose this one.
All right, last game of the slate, Sunday night, Chicago at Green Bay. I like the Pack in this one right now. The locker room is a mess. Brandon Marshall is not playing well. Well, at least the numbers aren't showing it. So I like the Packers at home.
Yeah, Packers win this one at home. Good rivalry game, but Brandon Marshall will probably explode in the locker room again after the game, might kill some people. So, yeah, not a good situation for the Bears right now.
Yeah, they're forgetting Brandon Marshall right now.
Yeah,
So
pretty soon, though.
yeah. So those are our picks for Week 10. Previewed the Eagles game. Pretty much covered all bases. So this might be that time. Any final thoughts, Mike?
Well, I'm actually going to this Eagles game on Monday night against the Panthers, and you know, get a new jersey, a new Eagles jersey, because former players at this point. So yeah, I think you know what jersey I will be selecting from the Eagles Pro Shop. I will officially be getting my Zach Ertz jersey. So yeah, I can't wait to put it on, and I'm going to be taking while I consume some alcohol and some food down there at Lincoln Financial Fields. Last time back with some good stories and a good Eagles victory.
All right, there you go. So, final thoughts time. Go into the game. You're such a lucky son of a bitch. I'm probably gonna have to cover the game. So, we'll see what happens. It's funny because I have my first Sunday off of the year. This Sunday, and of course the Eagles don't play. So, bad luck for me.
Yeah, that's like me. I think I had off when the Eagles had a bye week. So
It sucks, man. I hate that. The one Sunday we're gonna have off, and they don't play.
yeah, Exactly, yeah, brutal. So, yeah, well, I mean, at least you can enjoy, a Sunday off and, watch the football at home.
Yeah,
But, yeah, I mean, at least if you get to cover the game on Monday at work, that won't be too bad.
going to the game, but hey, at least I get to watch it and cover it. So yeah, there you go. You know, gave our fun, gave your final thought. Eagles are going to win. You're going to the game. Hopefully, you'll have some nice stories when we do our show on Tuesday. And yeah, so once again, I'll turn it back to you. I'll let you have a second final thought if you have any.
Hmm. Well, I think it's time that as I talk about Ertz that, we get him a little bit more involved. He saw limited action last week, so hopefully he sees more action this week. And actually, I'll throw in one more prediction here since we were talking about predictions before. I'm going to say that Jordan Matthew touchdown catches, and in a bigger surprise, I'm going to say that Josh Huff will have a touchdown catch as well.
Wow. So you heard it there first, and Mike Owens is never wrong. He's never wrong. So listen to him. Pick those guys up on the fantasy wire. Play them this week. So there you go.
It'll be the rookie show.
Yes, sir. All right. So with that being said, that was Mike Owens. I'm Adrian Fedque. Go Birds, baby.
Go Birds.